Power chords. Who doesn't love good old power chords? Classic. And while they sound great and are used in like 90% of rock, punk and metal songs, if you're a rhythm guitarist who knows nothing except this shape, your playing can sound pretty boring. But sometimes all we need is just tight rhythm. Like this, and playing full open chords or some fancy stuff simply won't suit the song. Well, what should we play in cases like this? And you came to the right place, because in this lesson you will learn 4 cool chord shapes that you can play instead of basic power chords. You can use them to spice up your rock rhythm guitar playing and even change the mood of the song. My name is Andrew, welcome to the First Fret Lessons. Our goal is to help you become a guitarist people want to listen to. And let's get into it. Okay, here is our first shape. For example, let's use D, G and C. Pretty common chord progression. And here's what you can do. Instead of jumping from D to G, you can play this instead. Here's our shape. It's still a G power chord. However, our root note is in the middle. It's stuck between the fifths here. So we don't have a root note in our bass. First of all, it's much easier to do this than jump. And it just sounds nice. It sounds a bit different, and that's what we're looking for here. And instead of playing full C power chord, you can just play these 2 notes without bass once again. And if you play it this way, you don't have to switch position at all. Sounds pretty nice, in my opinion. So yeah, just remember, when you have the first and then the fourth chord, instead of jumping, you can just lift your ring finger, and this is your fourth chord, like D, G, A, D. Just lift your ring finger, and this is our fourth chord, just with different bass. And by the way, if you're enjoying this lesson, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. You will help us a lot. Thank you. Our second shape sounds like this. It's still a power chord, we're still playing the root note in the fifth, but we're playing our fifth 1 octave higher, and that's why it sounds so different. Let me show it to you. Let's use a different chord progression this time. For example, B, D, A, E. Pretty common rock progression. Okay, instead of playing our fifth over here on the lower strings, we can play it here. If we got our root note on low E string, we play the same fret but on the B string. Here's our fifth. B, F sharp. All we need to do is just play these 2 notes. Be sure you mute everything else so that you don't get something like this, otherwise it will sound horrible. Use your index finger to mute all your strings here and check yourself. Here's our shape. It sounds really tight and it sounds way higher than your regular power chords. This shape can be useful if you got this really tight, very low bass in your mix who's playing something like this all the time. And if you do this, you can get lost in the mix. So this shape can come in handy. And you can also add a root note on the high string. It may be a little too loud, but just keep in mind. And if your root note is on the A string, you just play the same frets on the high E. So here's your E5 power chords. Let's play our progression this way. D, A, E, with the next shape, we are gonna replace our 5th note with the 2nd or 9th, and it sounds like this. It still sounds neutral, and it doesn't matter if you play it over the major or minor chords. Either way, it will sound great. Cool thing about power chord is that it's neither major nor minor, it's neutral. When we play this shape, it's just the root note and the 5th. It doesn't have any feel to it, it's not like joyful, it's not sad. And if we add 9th note, so it's C sharp for B, it's still kinda neutral. Of course it has completely different feel, completely different sound, but it's still neither major nor minor chord. And that's why we can use this shape. So how can you find this shape? If we got 7th fret on low E string, we play -1 fret on the G string. So 7 low E, 6 on the G. If I wanna play G chord like this, it will be 3 on the low E, 2 on the G. This chord has got a contemporary rock feel to it, you know? Kinda reminds of Foo Fighters, Everlong, and so on and so forth. So this is how we do it if our root is on low E string, and if our root is on the A string, for example D, we play the same fret, but on the B string. So it's 5 on the A, 5 on the B. And yeah, let's stick with the same chord progression. Here's how it'll sound. Once again, use your index finger to mute everything here. And here you can use your ring finger and middle finger to fret the notes and use index finger to mute everything else. However, I do it this way, as you have seen. I don't have trouble muting strings with these fingers, but if it's hard for you, use this shape. And last but not least, we are going to use thirds for our rhythm. They sound nice, plus you can play some simple riffs over these chords. Okay, to use the last trick effectively, you gotta know the chords of your song. Not just power chords, but you gotta know if it's a major or a minor chord. In the example that I use, I got B minor, D major, A major, and E major. And okay, let's use the thirds. So if we got a minor chord, we play our root note, but you know, instead of going 2 frets up on the A string, we go 2 frets down. So here's our minor power chord, as I call it. And if I want to play a major chord, I just go 1 fret down. Like a G chord, you know? Here is major third over here. So yeah, major shape, minor shape. And okay, this is how my progression will sound. And as I said, you can do some cool stuff here. For example, you can add this 4th note here. For a minor chord, you can just play the same fret as your root notes on A string. Same goes for major. And on the major chord, you can also go to 5th, go to the actual power chord shape. So you got like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 4th. And you can, you know, come up with some cool riffs here. I'm playing something like Gimme Shelter now. So instead of just staying on these shapes, you can do some fancy stuff here if you want. If you want to learn some more rhythm guitar tricks, be sure to check this video out. And don't worry, even though this lesson is recorded on acoustic guitar, all these tricks can be used on electric guitar as well. And if you're using tabs when learning new stuff, be sure to check this video out, because you may be making one of these mistakes and not even know about it. And they can really affect your playing in a negative way. So beware. Alright, thanks for watching, see you next time, bye bye.